Marvel's Avengers just released the Wartable, revealing everything that it seems we need to know about Jane Foster, who releases tomorrow, Tuesday, June 28th, and I'm going to take a look at all the information that they shown in this Wartable. So if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. So the Wartable starts off with some general gameplay and more info about her comic origin and her origin in the Marvel's Avengers universe. If you weren't really familiar with her origin in this game universe, I'll leave the video that I did about that animated origin in the end card of this video. But from the general gameplay that we see from her in this Wartable, at least this beginning part, it looks like she has some potentially cool takedowns. I know takedowns aren't obviously, the best type of thing to be excited about, but I like how cool some takedowns look, and I think that they've definitely been getting better with takedowns over time, so it looks like her takedowns can look interesting. So then it moves on to her moves and abilities, which I think is the meat and potatoes that everybody was looking to see, right? So they show off how she will slightly differ, I should say, from Thor himself. She has a new part of her light combo where she throws the hammer a little bit and recalls it. It's the same type of animation that Thor does for his light combo. The only difference is that she throws the hammer and then it comes back to her before she does the other attack. So it extends her reach a little bit. I honestly like the way it looks because it just, has that type of finesse feel to it. So I like how it looks. I think it looks really cool. And she also has slightly different unarmed attacks with a Spartan type of kick instead of Thor's headbutt when he's unarmed. And then her ranged power attack is also different, so it seems like it automatically, at least you can upgrade it so that the ranged power attack automatically locks on to an enemy when Mjolnir is thrown, and her normal ranged attacks are also slightly different, where if she catches it and you time it at the right time, you can do a second follow-up throw that is faster than the first one, similar to how you can time Captain America's shield throw mechanics. So I honestly think that's a pretty cool change as well. Then, in my opinion, we get the best reveal of the entire Wartable with her ultimate ability, the All Weapon, where she throws Mjolnir and it flies around like Hawkeye's hunting arrow, just seeking targets to hit and kill. And while this is happening, she switches to Undjarn, and at first I thought it might be a combo changer, but unfortunately it doesn't look like it is from the gameplay shown, although it still reduces damage taken while you're using Undjarn and stuff. So either way, I thought it looks really cool, just the way she activates the ultimate weapon, and Thor just like constantly spins around her and then seeks out enemies. I thought this was a really cool change from the Bifrost. Again, like I've said in a previous video, I don't think there's anything wrong with the Bifrost Ultimate Heroic, but just the way this looks for her, I think is a really cool change. So then they also mentioned that her intrinsic and stuff would be different, which I think is called God's Tempest instead of, I think it replaces the Odin Force. And it looks like when it's active, it just like increases, it has like a shockwave and increases how much knockback enemies take, which I also think is just a cool little thing to do instead of, I couldn't really tell if like the lightning still comes down when that's active or not, and I also don't know if that's going to replace Warrior's Fury or if it's still going to have Warrior's Fury as a support. I'm not entirely sure because Warrior's Fury and Odin Force is kind of the same, subtle differences and stuff like that, but that remains to be seen. And then they show off some of her outfits, and although this was revealed last week, I never got around to making a video on it simply because I didn't want to make a video that only lasted 1 minute. That would have been like a waste of time in my opinion. But they show off her Valkyrie outfit, where in this outfit specifically, her main hammer actually becomes Undjarn, and obviously just as a skin, it doesn't like change anything. It doesn't come with the damage reduction as well, but this is a really cool design decision for them to make because it opens the door and the possibilities to other heroes getting new skins with new weapons to go with it as well, which I'm sure many of you might think the first thing is Thor getting potentially a new outfit and having Stormbreaker as a hammer instead of Mjolnir. So obviously the possibilities with this could be really cool. So that wraps up everything they had in the Wartable. However, they did also have like a recap blog on their website that briefly discusses her gear perks, like very, very briefly, as well as it did make it a point to mention the MODOK multiplayer boss with the Cloning Labs OLT, seemingly coming in the next update whenever that takes place. So I'll just quickly read what they have about the gear updates, because the stuff that they have about the MODOK multiplayer boss and the Cloning Labs OLT, it's the same information that they had in previous blogs and stuff like that, so it's literally no new information, just kind of giving new players an insight as to what's to come if you aren't familiar with it. So the gearing ups portion of this blog, it says the classic set gear perks will focus on perk synergy and highlight ranged focused abilities while improving the capability of each heroic attack. Critical recall, when returning to your hand, any target with your hit with your hammer will be a critical hit. That's cool. Lethal ranged hammer restoration. Defeating an enemy with a ranged hammer attack will drops a regen pack. That's kind of standard. Technical set gear perks will focus more on her overcharge mechanic and how it differs from Thor, and that's how the gear is going to differ. Unarmed overdrive. Unarmed attacks generate 15% more overcharged energy per attack. Lethal rampant extension. Defeating enemies while God Tempest is active will extend the duration of the ability by 2.5 seconds, and that's what makes me think it might replace Warrior's Fury, because that sounds like a Warrior's Fury perk. Apex set gear perks will tie into Jane's heroic ultimate ability. I'm really interested to see how that's going to change her ultimate. And then ultimate cryo hazard. I also found this interesting. Activating an ultimate heroic on the ground creates a cryo hazard. And obviously that's very similar to how Bifrost has the built-in status effect when you return with it. So it looks like that type of a gear perk with cryo hazard could create a similar effect when you activate the ultimate heroic. And just in case you're watching this video and you're not familiar with what is coming in the future, I'll read that section very quickly. So the future, it says, following the addition of the Mighty Thor in patch 2.5, we'll be adding to the game story with 2 new challenges as part of an ambition to advance our narrative through hero and villain-centric content. The first is a villain-focused war zone that will reveal MODOK's fate after the defeat of his Kree Sentinel. The war zone will lead our heroes to AIM's cloning lab, a new Omega-level threat, OLT, where your high-level strike team will challenge and defeat a revitalized MODOK in a new multiplayer villain fight. Cloning labs will be new endgame content that rewards conquering heroes with high power level gear from brand new exotic gear sets. You can read more in our recent June development update, and they have that right there. And I'm obviously going to leave the link to this recap blog in the description of the video. But that about wraps up everything about Jane Foster. I do feel like a lot of people will be disappointed because they expected more of a Kate Bishop and Hawkeye situation, but notice that Kate Bishop and Hawkeye internally never really seemed to get referred to as echo characters of each other, and when the leaks for Jane Foster started to come out, what she was being referred to as basically an echo character. So I think it's a good and a bad thing, obviously. I can completely understand why you don't like how similar she is to Thor. I completely get that. So it's a bad thing if they release nothing but Echo characters, but obviously I don't think that's what they're going to do. But I do think it's a good thing if this is what they plan to do with Echo characters, because I think she is different enough to feel different than Thor. Yeah, her general gameplay might feel very similar, but in my opinion, her ultimate heroic differing the way that it does, with some of her animations differing, allowing for more different gear perks than Thor's gear perks. I honestly think that was the biggest thing for me. I wanted at least one of the heroics, like the ultimate heroic, I did want at least to be changed, along with I wanted there to be different gear perks so that you can build her in a different way than Thor. And the fact that we got that, I am honestly very happy that this seems to be the extent of what we will get with Echo characters. They will still be different. But comment down below if you're excited for Jane Foster's release in Marvel's Avengers tomorrow. I don't think a time has been set yet. If I were to guess, probably around what the reset time would normally be, so maybe around 11 or noon is when she'll come out with the update. But if you're excited for Jane Foster, feel free to voice your thoughts, and if you're not happy with Jane Foster, which I already feel like some people won't. But if you enjoyed this video today, feel free to like and subscribe for future Marvel content. I appreciate you for watching the video.